I begin with the name of Allah, who is most kind, who is most merciful. Darwin was very much sure if his theory is true, then with the passage of time, when a lot of excavations will be made by the paleontologist, then there is no doubt in this that all the missing links, all the simpler form of the Cambrian complex life, they will be discovered from the pre-Cambrian rocks. And he stated in his book, if these simpler forms, they are, for example, they are not discovered, then it will put his theory under great doubt, and his theory could be taken as a doubted theory. Whether the excavations occur, whether new fossils recovered from the Cambrian rocks or from the pre-Cambrian rocks, and whether the discovery of these new fossils resolved the problem of missing links. Now these things, this topic will remain today's main topic of interest, main topic of discussion in this episode. But before going into the details of this topic, I will like to elaborate, I will like to clarify a very important point. The point which would be very important for my viewers who are watching my episodes with great amount of concentration, with very critical eye. Earth was created about 4,600 million years ago. First life in the form of one-celled bacteria was created 3,800 million years ago, and the first complex trilobite that was created only 570 millions of years ago. How these figures came into the knowledge of paleontologists, how these figures came into the knowledge of scientists, and how these figures came into the knowledge of human. So there exists a very simple, however very accurate technology, what we call as absolute dating of rocks. What we do in this technology, there exist a lot of laboratories in almost all the developed countries, in Canada, in Europe, America, Australia, France, and many other advanced countries. What they do there, they take a piece of rock, say 10 kg, 20 kg, to which they are interested to know about its lifespan and its first appearance on the earth. They grind it to make a powder. Then they isolate a salt, what we call as zircon. Now folks, this zircon salt, remember, this salt is present in all the rocks. Then we go for the isolation of two elements from this salt, zircon. Number one is the uranium, and in particular uranium-238, and the second one is its daughter element, which is lead. Daughter element means when uranium degrade, when it decay, it form lead, it decays into lead, and the half-life of uranium-238 is 4,500 millions of years, which is almost equal to the life of the earth. So for example, if we get an amount of 100 grams of zircon, and we further go for the isolation of the uranium, and we get only 10 milligram of uranium and the equal amount of lead, what does it mean? It means the uranium in this rock has passed one half life. So, and what does it mean? It means the rock definitely has also passed 4,500 million years. This rock is actually 4,500 million years ago. So this is the earliest rock, and for younger rocks, the amount of uranium, it will be greater in quantity, and the amount of the lead, it would be smaller in quantity. So in this way, by quantizing uranium-238 and lead, and then correlating the quantities of these elements with the half-life of uranium-238, we can easily determine the life of the rock, and also ultimately the life of fossil that was hidden, that was preserved in that rock. So this is the whole science. This is very simple process. Now coming towards this episode's main core topic, whether the excavations, whether the digging of the rocks done by the paleontologist. So in this first remarkable digging of the rocks was done by R.J. McNeill. He was a paleontologist, and he very firstly he noticed a bed of fossils in the Canadian Rockies. What he found there are present thousands of trilobites over there, and more importantly, he also discovered from there the biggest ever Cambrian fossil, what we called as Anomalocaris, which is 3 feet in length, and it was a most threat for the sea life present into the seas at that time, because he was giant and also having predatory claws. After that, there comes the era of very renowned paleontologist by the name of Charles Doolittle Walcott. Very famous person, very famous paleontologist. During a period of 14 years, from the same site, from the same Canadian Rockies that was later named as Burgess Shale, he digged out 65,000 fossils of different, not trilobites, not Anomalocaris, different fossils. Almost all of them from 1910 to 1924, and almost all of them, they were having very greatly developed brain, sensory system, locomotory system, skeletal system, and gut system, mean digestive system. So, and I present here a list of the animals of the invertebrate, fully formed, very much complex, and suddenly appeared Cambrian fossils, which, and any one of them was not having any ancestral form, any precursor data, or any simpler forms. So in this regard, the first name is the Hallucigenia. So Hallucigenia is having 7 to 8 pairs of spindly legs. There is head, there is tail, and I also previously I have told you that all these sensitive systems like brain, sensory organs, like digestive system, all these things are present. And then there is Anomalocaris, the biggest one. Then there is the Marella. Marella was extensively found, about 25,000 specimens collected by the Charles Doolittle. Marella having rear-facing head spikes and bodies segmented. There are present almost 25 segments of the body. Then there is Vivexia, having muscular feet. Then Opabinia, 5 stacked eyes, backward-facing mouth. Then the Lyncholia, 4 stacked eyes and sensitive tentacles for locomotion. And then there is the Isoxes, having 2 bulbous eyes and flapper-like swimming legs. legs, and then the helicocysts that were 2 to 3 inches from the ground, and Canadaspis having head and having stacked eyes, pair of legs, almost 12 pairs of legs, and also having claws, having mandible to grind the larger particles, larger food particles, and also having antennae as a sensory organs. Then there is the Vectia having beady eyes, the multiple legs, and 4 front pairs of limbs. Then there is rounded stomach, and this stomach is also provided with small digestive glands. Then there is the Temescularis, which is a close relative to the Anemonocaris and very giant fossil of Cambrian rocks. Then there is the Aeschia that was grazing onto the prehistoric sponges. So this is all about the complexity of life that was discovered from Cambrian rock by the Charles Doolittle. Now I want a bit more concentration over here from my viewers. Up to now, I'm talking to you. There are present 36 phyla. 36 phyla in animal kingdom. Now, what is phyla? Animal phyla is a great classification of animal kingdom. And one phyla represents only one body plan. What does it mean? All the animals existing on the earth having same body plan, they will be placed in one phyla. For example, in phyla number 1, and then all the other animals having same body plan, they will be placed in phylum number 2, and so on. For example, there are present different phyla, the porifera, arthropods, mollusks, and different phyla. So up to now, there are present only 36 phyla, mean 36 body plans, and out of these 36, 27 they are being fossilized in the rocks, and out of these 27 fossilized, 20 phyla, 20 body plans, they just appeared in Cambrian rocks. That's why this is called an explosion. This is called an explosion of life. This is called Big Bang of life. So out of 36 body plans existing up to now, 20 body plans, they just appeared over here, and without independently, discretely, without any data of precursor forms, without any data of simpler life. So I also once again remember you about the tree of life that was presented by Charles Darwin. I'm showing again here the tree of life. This is the tree of life that was presented by Charles Darwin, and that was just only the explanation of his theory of evolution. The very base of this tree, the big stem, represents the single-celled bacteria, and ever growing very big stem of this tree, it represents the passage of huge amount of time, I mean millions of times. So when there are passing millions of time, I mean the tree is growing, its stem is growing, then there is emergence of different stems, different branches from the same main stem, from the main stem. This represents actually the emergence of different phyla. So what does it mean? From single celled bacteria, with the passage of huge amount of time, different phyla, they are emerging very progressively, very slowly. But what happened here? This is according to the theory. This is a tree of life presented by Darwin. So this is according to the theory of Darwin. But what we have got from our actual fossil data, we have got this tree of life inverted in the Cambrian period. All the, 20 different phyla, they are just appearing alongside with one another without any precursoral data, and they are not even related, associated to one another. So there is a very much contrast over here. Tree of Darwin shows that all the life is emerging from one cell. Here we find an orchard of almost 20 different phyla that are growing, that are first they are appeared at the same time, and then they are growing independently, discretely, and this poses very big question on the theory, on the truth, on the validity, and on to the authenticity of the Charles Darwin. So number one, there is question mark on the small incremental changes. There is question mark on the natural selection, because natural selection demands millions, billions of time. And then there is also question mark on to the formation of different variants, different variety of species evolving from same species. And now there is a big question mark on to the tree of life presented by Charles Darwin. So folks, in next episode, this was the discovery that was shock, that was stunned Charles Doolittle also, but because he realized this is not a problem to that extent, not a problem of that level that was assessed by the Darwin during his own time. This is almost 100 times more greater mystery, more deeper mystery than that was realized by the Darwin. So whether he withdraw himself from the Darwinian thoughts, whether he stick onto the same theory, and what is hypothesis of artifact, what is artifact hypothesis that was presented by Charles Doolittle, and a society, a big society, particularly atheist society, that was grasped by this artifact hypothesis. So this I will discuss with you in next episode. So the next episode is also going to be very important, and inshallah we will meet soon in our next episode. And this is all about for the episode number 3, and it's Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.